Good morning, and welcome to And There God Was. Um, Today I wanted to talk to you about blessings. Um, Blessings come in so many different sizes, let's say. Um, this past week, um, I just, the blessings have just rolled in. Um, I took one of my grandsons to the doctor last week, um, and when we started to leave the doctor, he said, they call me Big Big, by the way. And he said, Big Big, you're the best grandmother. Well, that was a blessing. He said that it didn't matter where I was or what I was doing. If one of them called me and said that they needed something, I would be there. And that's what I try to do. I can't always, but that's what I try to do. And so God was right there with me and him on that trip to the doctor and let me know that I was important, and that was a blessing. And then I got to help him get ready to go to his first middle school dance on Friday, and that was a blessing because I got to help get him dressed up and ready to go, and so I was blessed by that. Then Sunday morning, we work in the nursery at our church, and if you don't have a place to come to church or to go to church, come see us at Bethany Baptist Church in Heath, Alabama. But back to what the blessing was my husband is kind of over the nursery, I guess you would say, and those babies love him. He is just a natural in there. Adults don't care for him as much as the babies do. Let's put it that way. But those babies love him, and so I watched him when he had 5 little kids that are toddlers up to 2 years old that were just all fighting to get in his lap at the same time. So he is definitely loved. He has his best friend is a little boy he may be 3 now, but he's between 2 and 3, I think. And that's his best friend. His name's Porter, and he is they just love each other. And I think that's the sweetest thing whenever they see each other. So I got a blessing out of that, of watching those babies love him so much. And that afternoon, after church, we went to pick up some dance recital tickets. Our granddaughter was dancing in the recital that afternoon. And so when I went to pick them up and I started to leave, my 15-year-old grandson said, I love you, Big Big. And I almost cried because I tell them I love them and they'll say, love you too. But for him to initiate that and say, I love you, Big Big, that was the most special thing. It was just to know that my grandkids love me. They don't always like me, but they love me. And that's so special. So we went that afternoon and we watched our granddaughter dance in the recital, and she did absolutely fantastic. She's a natural at dancing and getting all fixed up. Beautiful little girl, and she is just, she just loves what she does. And so that was a blessing. Then yesterday was Kenny and I's 31st wedding anniversary. And it's been a wonderful 31 years. Now, has it been tough at times? Oh, yeah. But has it been a blessing? Oh, yes, definitely. Definitely been a blessing. We don't always see eye to eye, but I don't think there's any couple that does all the time. And so God definitely blessed me whenever He put Kenny in my life 31 years ago. And so I had a doctor's appointment yesterday. And when you go in, the nurse calls you back to do your vitals and things like that. Well, while she was doing my blood pressure, she handed me a little devotional book that was a, a little daily devotional book. And she said, I want to give you this. So I told her thank you, and that I appreciated that. And so when she took me into the room, she handed me a little cross, and she handed me a little Jesus. And she said, everybody needs a little Jesus. And so I lit up all over, and I gave that lady a big hug and told her what a blessing she was in my life yesterday. And speaking of little Jesus, I have one which I can't turn it around to show you, but on my bus I have a little Jesus that sits on my dashboard that one of my students gave me for Christmas. And I put a piece of tape up there, and he sits on my dashboard, and he watches over my bus. And so all the kids will always say, there's Jesus. And that's a blessing. You know, it was a blessing that I was given that Jesus, and it was a blessing that I was given the one yesterday. Because the one I got yesterday, I'm going to pass on to somebody else. And so God was right there in that room, you know, and there was no doubt that God put that lady and me together yesterday for a purpose. So we worked yesterday afternoon. We're trying to build a dog pen, and it's hot, and there's gnats, and I get aggravated, but we made it. And so we went fishing yesterday afternoon with a couple of the grandkids and my daughter with her two children. And that was the biggest blessing, watching those kids fish. They were catching fish, and they were having the time of their life and grinning from ear to ear. And it was just special, you know. And there's nothing that any better than getting to spend the afternoon with your family at a fish pond. I mean, that's just, it's just special. So this week it's just been a blessing. And this morning on the bus, I have a little boy on the bus, and they call me Miss G on my bus. And he comes up behind me and he says, Miss G, I love you. And, you know, I mean, the fact that I get to do this job, not that I have to, but that I get to, that's a blessing. It's a blessing that I get to see these children. I get to talk with them if they're hurting. They'll come and just give me a hug. If I'm out, they'll tell me how much they missed me. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that. And I hope today that you can look at the things that happen in your life and you can consider them a blessing. Sometimes things don't always work out the way that we want them to, but a lot of times that's God's blessing in disguise, that you just don't realize it. But He blessed you by keeping you from going through the things that you were headed to go through, because we don't always make the right decisions. We don't always do the right things. But He'll bless us through it, and He'll bring us through it. Whenever we make mistakes, He'll bring us through that. And because Lord knows I've made plenty in my lifetime. Mistakes are just, I mean, for a long time it seemed like that's all I could do was make mistakes. That's all I could do was things that I, knew I shouldn't have done, but I did them anyway. But it's just, I just hope you can see the blessings in your life. And I hope you know that if there's anything bothering you, if there's anything that you're going through that you can't handle, there's somebody right there beside you. Jesus is there, and he's, just talk to him. Just go to him in prayer and tell him the things that are on your heart, and trust that he'll bring you through it the way he sees fit. And always, that's not the way we want it to be. But I pray for you today. I pray that you have a great rest of your week, and that you know that God loves you, and so do I. So have a good rest of your week.